Somebody asked me to make videos about melody ideas or a video. So this may be a 2-part video. I don't know. But listen, this is the fundamental as far as how I look at melodies and melody creation and just making beats in general, just making music in general. You have 2 frames of thoughts, and I don't have a name for these frames of thoughts, but I am going to say unconscious and conscious frames of thought. If I had to give it just a name right now, just to throw it out, I would say professional and hyper creative. Those would be the 2 ways that I would describe it and things like that. So when you look at the one side, when you look at the creative side, just being like hyper creative, you may be very inspired, or you may not even be inspired. You just may be experimenting, trying new things and things of that nature. That state of mind comes from a place of, I'm just doing what I feel. I'm just doing what I want. I am just putting shit on a canvas, and we are going to see where this takes us. You don't come in with a preconceived notion of what you're trying to make for the most part. This is the thing about doing that. It's a few things, and I'm going to lay it out very quick, very, very flat. The first thing is you don't even have an idea where you're going to land. So you could land in someplace dope. You could land in someplace whack. You could land in someplace unique. You could land in someplace typical, but you're just doing what you feel and it's coming out of you, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing about it, I think it's important for you to do as a creative, because this will help you find yourself. That's me being honest. That's me being real about, just exploring and creating and experimenting and things of that nature. It'll help you find yourself as an individual producer, as an individual composer, beat maker, whatever word you want to use. But the third thing is, when it comes to this, you may have something that sounds very spacey, very out there, very whatever. The issue you'll have to deal with these types of beats is a lot of people may not want to rap on them because they don't sound like what their rapper daddies want to rap on. And that's just me being funny, but that's, how I think. I'm not going to lie, because the thing that goes on is you'll have somebody, an artist, and they'll say something like, "Ooh, I want to do something original. I want to be." When it come down to it, everything about this person that is like their flow, the beats that they pick, the way they dress when it's time to do photo shoots, and et cetera, they are mimicking another rapper for the most part. So ultimately, what you're looking at that end, you could make some stuff that could be really out there that people don't like, and you may have to work to find an artist that is actually going to feel and mesh with the new wave that you're trying to create and things of that nature. The other end, as far as conscious creation, I would say that that's more professional. And when you were doing that, this is what you were doing. You were coming in with the deliberate intentions of making something very specific. And this is the key right here. It's typically something that will either fit something or something that the artist or people want, or that people want to hear, et cetera, et cetera. But with that, it plays out a little bit different. Now on this end, this is where most of the music industry operates and things like that, because when it comes down to it, it's about demand. It's about what's hot, et cetera, et cetera. So people like what's familiar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to go too deep on that, but when it comes to creation, it's a lot different than the other end. It's a lot different because at the end of the day, more than likely, you want to make something that at least sounds good to you. When it comes to this end, you have an actual target that you can aim for. And this is the thing, when you don't hit that target, you can assess why you didn't hit that target a lot better by comparing it to different things. I'll give you an example. If we're making something orchestral and I'm trying to make like some Pirates of the Caribbean action-packed scores and stuff like that, and I'm making the orchestral stuff, if it comes out and it sounds weak, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound like it would fit a movie or something like that. Let's say I'm trying to get it placed for a movie or something like that. I can actually look and say, okay, where did I go wrong, and compare it to different music in that sector as far as that same vibe I was going for, and look exactly what was wrong and what exactly was off and things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is take you through my thought process when it comes to both of these. All right, so we're going to look at the professional side first, or the conscious side. Coming in and I have a vision or I have a goal, whatever. So let's say that I am trying to make a beat for Future, or people who want to rap over beats like Future, or an Atlanta artist, whatever. So if that's the case, the first thing we're going to do, because the first part of my process, and we're going through my thought process as far as how I do this, is going to be melody. It's going to be melody. Now, there are a bunch of different directions that you can go in. So the first thing is picking the first instrument that works. Now, even though it's old, the first track that I think of is F Up Some Commas. I think of Plutowski as well, but Plutowski has more of an orchestral sound. When it comes to F Up Some Commas, it has a piano sound, even though it's like 10 years old at this point. 140 is a perfect tempo. How do I know these things? Because before I get into it, there are a bunch of things that I'm going to say. How do I know these things? I know these things for two reasons. Number one, I have studied a lot of these types of beats. So I have actually pulled up like a Future beat before, even a type beat somebody has made, and looked at things like, what is the chord progression? What is the tempo? What instruments are they using? And even then, the second thing is I've made a lot of these beats. So when I make a lot of these beats, I might have one that I think, this is my personal favorite. I like to listen to this even if an artist ain't on it. What did I do on this track? So with that, I have a good set of reference in my mind. If you don't have a good set of reference, you need to either A, do some more studying, or B, at least pull up something as far as a reference. I know that the melody and the chords dictate the mood. So what we're trying to do is lay down a good foundation. So that is a good chord progression, and I could use something like that to make the melody. I could have done way more with the beat. I could have added way more layers and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you could tell this actually connected with what I was trying to do. And that's the point. If you look at what I did, I used the knowledge of what I already knew about these songs that I listened to. Now, let's pretend that I didn't have the knowledge. What I would do is go and listen to the songs and figure out things like, well, what type of chords are these using? What type of keys is this in? What keys are these in as far as these beats? What sounds are they using on the drums and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. So I would figure all this stuff out, and even then take my beat making knowledge and things of that nature and apply it to making melodies and to making beats for this, to pretty much make it connect to the vision. That being said, it's this simple. When you are trying to make something specific, you're going to go and you're going to use the knowledge that you have to make what you're trying to make connect to the vision and stuff like that. Now, again, if it doesn't connect, you're going to have to look, you're going to have to see what problems there are. You may have to even compare and contrast to some of the stuff that you're trying to make it sound like and things of that nature. But that's what it is. And at the end of the day, this part of the video is not talking about, oh, you got to have a creative vision and just, do something new and brand new. Like, all of that sounds good if you are trying to make beats for rappers in your specific marketing. You're someplace like in Atlanta. if you're making the wrong types of beats, it's going to be hard for those to connect with the people that you are around. So you're going to have to make the right types of beats that people not just want to rap to, but also the people want to listen to in their car where you're at, that they want to listen to in the club, or that's going to sound good on the radio, especially if you have dreams of being within the industry and stuff like that. So that's it on this one. I'm going to come back. When you see me, it's going to be a whole new day because I'm going to come in with a fresh brain, fresh mind frame, all of that good stuff. Now, it's actually not even one day. It's about 2 days after I did the last video, and I was actually going to get on here and work on some product. But I said to myself, yo, now is the perfect time because I don't even have the intention of making beats. This is a perfect time for me to come in with a blank slate. Let's take it to the fruity slicer, and I'm going to tell you, I have no idea why I'm doing that other than to, be creative. That's it. Now listen, that right there, we not mixing that. We not doing nothing else, bro. Listen, that right there is just me just doing shit, just creating from a free place, not trying to do anything but create something that I think sounds good to some extent. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not my best work. This is okay. And this is the thing. Some of you watching this might think this is liquid ass. Some of y'all might think this is ass. Now, as far as this beat, I could critique this beat myself and figure out where, in my opinion, I went wrong and things like that, because I don't feel it 100%. And I'm not here trying to just blow your mind away. I'm just here trying to create. This is honest. This is an honest video. This is really like what I came up with, not aiming for shit. The one thing I can say is that I don't know too many niggas making beats that sound like that. I don't know really anybody making beats that sounds like that as far as that style. But listen, that's it for today, man. That's all I got for you. So boom, this is like 14, 15 days since I shot the last scene that you looked at. And what happened, I shot a video. I shot this whole part that I'm about to shoot, but the beat was whack. The beat was ass. So we're going to make another attempt. We're going to try and make something unique, but I'm not going to speak about, my process or anything like that while I'm doing it. I am just going to create and see what I can come up with. I'm going to use some sounds from Sinsanity and stuff like that. So the only goal I have, actually no goal. I'm just coming in doing whatever, man. That's how we going to do it. Let's get to it. listen, as far as that product right there, that is me making a beat without like any goal in mind other than to make some hot, hard, whatever you want to say. Just like it's really no goal. Let me go through the process with you very quickly. When I picked the first sound, that right there, it sounded good to me, so I picked it. It's that simple. When I got to laying down the chords, what happened? I'm going to take you through my thought process very quickly. The first thing I said is let me start with chords and try and make a melody out of chords, because in my mind, there are two things. In my mind, number one, I think the chords are the foundation of the mood and things like that. If you come up with a good chord progression, you're good. But the other thing is that is habit. That is habit that's coming out. That's exactly what it is. I do that on a lot of my beats. So when I make a beat without putting much thought into it, or without an aim, or without a goal, without a clear vision, I'm going to go and I'm going to default to my habits. I'm going to do the things that I know work, or the things that I am used to doing. When we got into the processing, I was just like, yo, what can I do to make this pop? So I did all the effects that I did, and that was cool. Then I said, we need a melody. And I said, let's use another one shot and let's arpeggiate it. As I played around with exchanging the sounds and stuff like that, and also playing around with the arpeggiator and stuff, till I got something that I liked. Again, not something that I think a rapper would want to rap on, not something that I think would impress you, not something that, you know, fits R&B or trap. No. Till I got something that sounded good to me. And that's what came out. I feel like there was a mistake that I made, and I'm going to tell you what it was. When I took the shaker, I dragged it onto channel 1 of the mixer, which had all these effects and Portal on it. And it sounded kind of crazy. I took the shaker and I put a Portal on it on a different channel and stuff like that, and experimented with it and put some other effects on it to make it sound crazy. That is not something I do. So that was something creative, to where I was just experimenting, saying, let me see how this sounds. Let me see how I can make something different. Let me see if I could do something dope by getting outside of the box of what I do. But I heard something that inspired me to do that. Do you understand that? I heard something. And when you think about inspiration, people think like, oh man, you know, I was at the cafe and I heard a guitar player and I ran back to the studio. Like, that can be inspiration, but inspiration can come from you putting the sock on. Inspiration can come from a pencil falling off the table and stuff like that. Inspiration can come from anything, to me. And you could tell me if I'm wrong, because we have different perspectives. But to me, I could hear myself in this. I can hear myself in what I just made. And it doesn't sound like anything necessarily like too close, as far as like, you know, to where, okay, this is someone else's identity, or, okay, this is a specific lane. Like, this is not really, it's not really sticking to a specific producer or a specific artist, you know? So the thing about that is, that's cool. This is the understanding that I have outside of all of this creation stuff. If I wanted somebody to rap on this, I would have to get somebody who is open-minded, who likes it, who is more than likely not on. And I would have to build with them, and the artist is going to make this sound pop. But if I'm trying to just sell it, if I'm trying to get it off on BeatStars or something like that, it's probably not going to go. Because of the reason that I mentioned earlier, because people gravitate to what's familiar and what they like, and they want to be their rapper daddies and stuff like that. Now, even from a placement standpoint, this may not be what an artist is looking for. And even then, this is the other thing, I did not make this with an artist in mind. So it's possible, even though I don't truly believe in this concept, it's possible that there may not be enough room or space on it for an artist. But at the end of the day, we could rearrange the beat and stuff like that to make it, you know, spacious for artists and stuff like that. But again, this is me creating freely and stuff like that. So Those are the differences, and you could see it in my own process and stuff like that. So again, you know, habits and things like that will come out to the forefront. And if you feel inspired or something gives you inspiration or you feel like experiment, and that's where it comes in. But when it comes down to it, if you want to be unique, if you want to be different, if you want to be like something that nobody has ever heard, I'm not going to lie to you, man. It's not going to be an easy path for most. And that's just me being real. Yeah, you have some people out here who are extremely creative and stuff like that, you know. But if you really have your ear to the streets and stuff like that, if you really look around, the majority of those people are not on. The most talented people don't get on. I'm going to just keep it real, man. Like that's just what it is. Even if you look at the NBA, I ain't even going to go that deep with you, man. You can believe that or not believe that. It is what it is. I'm not here to convince you, dog. Let me know your thoughts. I am gone.